Hi, this is Todd with Charles McMurray Company. I'm not in the studio today. As you can see, I'm in a shop today where we're going to do a full kitchen in an application of our WB3 spray-only stain and our Sayerlack clear coat. We've had a lot of positive feedback over the years of the WB3, and shops say, hey, I see it, but I have a hard time believing it. How easy is it to apply? Is there value in it? And by doing this video, I think I'm going to show you that there's a great opportunity for you to increase your production, increase the quality of your product, and get a improved overall cost savings and producing a better product by using the WB3. So let's do that today. So as I prepare to get this job stained, I've got roughly 30 feet of linear cabinets, uppers and lowers. And I'm going to do a bit of a time study to see how much stain I use and the time it takes to stain this entire kitchen. I've taken off the doors and going to be taping off the drawer fronts and then go ahead and getting those stained. So hopefully you'll be able to see a bit of what the overall cost and labor is involved in applying this stain. Okay, so I'm going to start with the doors and drawer fronts. Everything's been sanded, taped off, and ready to spray. So I'm going to be using the Wichita 2 WB3 RTS, or ready to spray, water-based spray-only stain. One of the keys I found with this stain, it's probably best to apply it with an HVLP gun, either a cup gun or a pressure pot, something like that. I do have customers that are successfully using air assist, but you're really going to want a small tip. In this case, I've got a 1.2 gravity-fed cup gun, and I always start by choking the fluid all the way off and then backing it about 3/4 of a turn for one turn out, depending on your tip size. Get a very fine, soft spray, and this is what we're going to do to be applying it. So the way we want to apply it, as usual, is to get a wet coat, but not so much that it runs or puddles. And the easiest way to think about it is I'm spraying vertically. If I spray it, if it starts to run off the door when I'm spraying vertically, then you're applying too much. But you want to get it wet enough where the coat is applied in a nice, relatively even manner. You can spray it a couple of passes both directions if need be, depending on your trim and detail. But that's the best way I found to apply it. Once it gets dry or starts to dry, you want to leave it alone. So again, this is an alder job that we're doing, and I'm going to spray everything flat in this case until we get to the cabinet boxes and panels. So let's begin. So in this application, I'm going to start with the back first, and I'm going to avoid hitting the edges, and we'll hit the edges when we do the fronts of the door. So let's start. So I want to angle the gun in such a way that I'm not getting stain on the edge, but getting all my backside of the cabinet without hitting the sides of the doors. You can see I'm not hit my fronts or my sides of my doors. I've got a wet coat, but not so much that it's going to run or puddle if set up vertically like this. So I'm applying this where I want to make sure I rotate my gun to get the stain into all the cracks and crevices. I find that with this spray-only water-based stain, that the stain tends to gravitate more under your coped and grooved areas, more so than a traditional wiping stain. If you think about it, wood likes to drink water, so it tends to the straws of the wood want to draw the stain further behind the stiles and rails of the door from the panel. I find that the stains colorant stays in suspension really well compared to most other stains, but you do want to occasionally shake it or agitate it throughout the application of the stain. So I'm wrapping about 50% on my pattern to make sure I get a nice even coat and wet coat. Now, if at some point you're applying the stain and you get it a little bit too heavy in one area, while the stain's still wet, if it's puddling, just kind of move the stain around when it's wet and get that drip or puddle off. And you got to do that while it's wet, and it'll just blend right back in. So that's an easy way to overcome an issue if you should, get a drop of stain on there or some splatter or something, or just applying it too heavy. Just go ahead and wipe it off with a soft bristle brush. And once it starts to dry, just leave it alone. So in this case, I've got some French lights here. These are going to be panels with glass in them. And I've got some open detail, and you're thinking, okay, well, how do I get all that? Again, just apply it like you're doing a regular flat panel, and avoid getting the stain on the edges, and just work your way across, and it'll be just fine. Now I've got a little bit of a heavy spot here, so I'm just going to wipe that a little bit, and that's it. See, nothing on the front side. So I finished spraying the backs of all the cabinet doors. I'm starting on the drawer fronts, but before I get going too far, I wanted to show you, you can already see the stain. It's been about 15, maybe 20 minutes since I took to spray all these, and already the first ones that were sprayed are starting to show signs of drying. It's currently about 55 degrees today, no air movement, and I'm already seeing it dry rapidly. Once these are dry, we'll flip them over and we'll do the fronts. So the backs have already been sprayed. Now I'm going to spray the fronts. I'm going to start with the edges, shoot the top or the front, and then finish with my edges. I try to avoid getting in too much on the front if I can, but if you get a little bit, that's fine, as long as you don't wait too long to apply it to the front. That's it. So now I'm going to apply the stain to the front. Now I'm going to hit the edges this time. So our stain is dry. It's been a few hours since everything's been stained. And today we're going to be applying the Sayerlack 1K. This is the AF 7220. It's a 1K water base 20 sheen. And this is right out of the bucket with no reduction. I'm going to be using the CA Technologies water-based pump and setting the pressure starting there about 40 to 50 on the gauge, which is a 15-to-1 pump. So that's probably going to be about 600 to 700 PSI. And starting with just a 411 tip. So let's start getting the first coat on.
So we've applied a seal coat over all cabinets, and sometimes on end grain, the WB3 may look a little blotchy on the ends here if it's not sanded thoroughly smooth. In this case, it's really an easy fix. So what we're going to do is we're just going to go ahead and sand the whole seal coat. After it's sanded, we got to clean. You see here some of the end grain is a little blotchy. We can take a little bit of the WB3 stain and just wipe it. If we have a burn through on any of our edges, we can take some of the stain and wipe it on there, and then wipe off the excess off of the clear coat and just touch up where we need to. But apply that like so over the blotchy end grain, and that will make it look a lot more even. Let that dry, and then we can go ahead and apply a clear coat over that. So anytime you see any areas of touch up, apply your seal coat, sand any burn through or any end grain that looks a little mottled. You can just go ahead and wipe some of the WB3 on there after it's been sanded on your seal coat, and then let that dry and apply a clear coat over it, and you should be just fine. So I finished applying the last coat of the Sayerlack, and I'm pretty pleased with the way the product lays down. It dries fast, easy to sand. I self-sealed everything. Very happy with the way the job turned out. I used probably about a gallon and maybe additional 20 ounces of stain to do this entire job. So overall, I'm pretty pleased with the way it turned out. Using this WB3 really made the job go fast. Basically, I had everything stained in about 3.5 hours, and then applied the Sayerlack, and now the job's ready to go as soon as it dries, and somebody would be happy with this new kitchen. So here we are in the kitchen. The cabinets have all been installed. The tile work is being done. And I promised at the beginning of this video, I'd provide a summary of the time and materials that went into completing this job. We had about 30 linear feet of cabinets, and we used about 140 ounces of stain total. That's for the front and backs of all the doors and drawer fronts. Some of the interiors, the open-end boxes, the face frames, everything was 140 ounces. And the total time, and this is the kicker, only took about 3.5 hours of total time to stain this using gravity-fed cup gun, small tip, and spray only. The beauty of this stain, and I think where it shines, is that you get a much more even, consistent look between the frame and the panels. A lot of times with the wiping stain, especially on alder, the plywood and the hardwood can look very different. This stain mitigates that and gives you a much more even look. There's virtually no blotchiness. And again, it only took about 3.5 hours to stain. So after it was stained, we applied the Sayerlack 1K waterborne clear top coat, the AF72. This was the AF7220, a 20 sheen. And I self-sealed with the product and did a total of 3 coats. And I think the job came out looking really nice. So if you're looking to improve your production, to get quicker push through your shop,
get a much more even looking and color consistent stain. Doesn't matter what top coat you're using, whether you're using our conversion varnish, our pre-cat lacquer, or the Sayerlack waterborne top coat, you can use the stain under any of them. So if you'd like to know more, give me a call, Todd at the Charles McMurray Company. Be happy to answer any questions. Thanks for your time.